and welcome to the Raw Review. We are the Dadley Boys of WhatCulture. I'm Adam Wilbourn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick here to review everything that happened in last night's episode of Man Now Raw. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. I do daily wrestling podcasts, so we're not going to review Man Now Raw. But also SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round-up of the week, complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett Sidgwick to review last night's Raw. I will say, last couple of podcasts, I've started by laughing during the intro. Hamflett, do you want to explain why that is?
Just because you love hanging out with your friends.
Oh, that too,
studio,
obviously.
Yeah? I am greeting the viewers on the YouTube portion of this podcast with a big thumbs up because I'm happy to see you. But also because we've kind of
Mandela affected?
Yeah, amended a story which Phil Chambers told us about how he was so nervous around meeting Mick Foley that he forgot how to bang. And tried to create a version of what that might have looked like without asking him.
Yeah, we don't know.
Out. Phil, next WrestleCulture, just ask him what what did he do with his... Hi, Mick! Oh, God! I don't know. But, so in my head, just taking the gun bit out with your hands leaves you like this. And now that's all I can... Oh, it's the Mickey! Here he is!
Mickey! Anyway, we are here to review Raw and the go-home show ahead of Saturday night's main event.
Class as always, post-WrestleMania. That was really good. Really, really strong. Loads of what I'm loving about WWE at the moment. In-ring was decent, which isn't a necessity, but sometimes helps and is benefited by a hot crowd that's receptive to it as well.
It was a good crowd last night, yeah.
It's been interesting to analyse, as we try to do on these podcasts, what it is that the modern WWE crowd wants, because they're not thickos and idiots like some people will tell you. They are simply fans of a particular brand of wrestling. Mm-hmm. It's up to WWE to deliver that and give the paying customer what they want. And for years, I maintain that one of the biggest differences between the two companies we cover was the sensation of a satisfied customer base. That felt like that was shifting in 2025, and that's WWE's job now to be what do our customers actually like, and let's try and give them plenty of that. Wrestling isn't always that, hence why a Jey Uso wins a world title, and then it gets as over as he gets. Last night, they were actually into the wrestling, and they got some, which was good, but some really big angle advancements that I enjoyed, and again, this sense that I cannot get over the difference between how I'm feeling about Raw and SmackDown. You're not so... Brand extension or not, you're not supposed to feel like there's such a big difference creatively and investment-wise between these two shows.
Yeah, if it was Survivor Series right now, you'd have a red T-shirt on.
What? Come on, Team Red! Yeah, blue guys suck. End-to-end, I'm watching characters, and I guess we will typically debate how much you really like half of these characters, but I'm watching so many characters with so many different rivalries they're in right now, potential ones that they're going to lead to following, say, a Saturday night's main event or Money in the Bank. SummerSlam is already feeling like a big destination for several of the wrestlers, and it's allowing you to kind of form those pathways, I guess, for I would say the majority of the people featured on the show. It's not perfect, but I cannot get over the gulf in quality between the two shows at the moment. I'm having a whale of a time with these Raws.
How?
You know what? There's a very interesting debate that I think. Not a debate, we actually agreed. But on the Q&A that we did, we were talking
Still available wherever you get your podcasts from.
We're talking about video packages. And WWE do loads of them. AEW don't do enough of them. And it was somebody who was asking, when are AEW going to do that? When are they going to get it? And my view was they're never going to do it. They're not going to get it. That's not how Tony Khan sees wrestling philosophically. Doesn't prioritize it. Shouldn't prioritize it. Should prioritize it the way he sees fit. And then AEW is this and WWE is this.
Yes.
That, I believe, can extend to tastes, and I think me and Sidgwick experienced a version of that, because I don't think Sidge is being a dick. Look at me and going, how? Because
I'm absolutely incredulous.
Because we'll review a Dynamite, and Sidge is just, overflowed with praise for this match.
Sometimes.
And then he'll be like, no, chuck it over to Hamflett, where he was going to say he was bored rigid. And we're both speaking our truths.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. Yeah. And that's the reality of... different needs, different outputs. This is the WWE that is still firing for me at the moment. AEW's knocking SmackDown into a cocked hat right now. But Raw is still the good stuff. But they're very different versions of the good stuff, I think, at the moment, I would say.
I'm just so bored. I watched this program. I cannot believe how uninspiring, repetitive, nothing happens. Why we're still doing this? Why we're still doing this? Why we're still doing this? I don't think the wrestling was particularly good outside of one match. I disagree with that as well. The directions.
Is the noise an answer to the why?
What?
Was the noise an answer to a why? That was loud last night.
That was loud. I'm glad it was as well because it carried me through the broadcast.
Receptive though. There's the why. Is what I'm saying. Is like if they can be that receptive, that's an
yeah. But
why,
you can go to any old rubbish concert and there's an audience for it. I'm still baffled.
Who's your favourite person on Raw right now? You had to pick one.
Don't like it very much. I think it's boring. Does anyone come out and I'm like, this is all right? No, not really.
He's going to get grief for this, and it's not fair.
Okay.
I know. I do. Cards on the table last week in the office, like, I had a bit of a tantrum about the state of a Dynamite that was otherwise pretty good, and I was like, I didn't say this on the review, but I'll say it on this one. I was like, whinging to you. I was like, I like about 3 people in AEW. I'm f***ing sick of a lot of them, right? And I really do get it. Like, I'm sure I want to show empathy to you on behalf of people that might just assume you're doing some sort of, like, anti-WWE shtick or something, because I think this Raw, I saw loads of praise.
Same, and I was baffled.
Yeah.
Baffled.
I think it's very easy to just sort of, not feel this world that like other people are speaking of, or a roster, or whatever it is that people are full of praise for.
Yeah.
Like, I know you don't need me to defend you, I just feel like there's...
flying And if I did, I would point out, like, how many times have I said in recent weeks, Ospreay's been feuding with Don Callis for a year and a half. Can we drop that now? Can we drop that? There's a lot of repetitive stuff in wrestling across the board, but it's just, when you look at the entirety of this show, it's brutal to me. Absolutely brutal and uninspiring. But we'll get to it.
Yeah, let's dive into the show because Logan Paul enters to open Monday Night Raw and welcomes us to Monday Night Raw. But he's talking about facts. It is a fact, he says.
Paul Heyman like that as well, didn't he? What's a fact going on? What's a fact that the show was A's?
It was A's.
He says, in fact, I'll beat Jey Uso on Saturday. When I return to the ring on Raw on Monday, I'll be your new World Heavyweight Champion. What's wrong, Greenville? You don't like facts? Well, I've got a lot more for you. Facts, Jey Uso is the current World Heavyweight Champion. Facts, Jey Uso tapped out Gunther at WrestleMania, and everyone starts... and he tells them not to eat, and obviously they eat even more. Tells them all they have 2 brain cells and to shut up. But another fact is he will win a singles title 12 years faster than Jey Uso.
Is that, just to clarify, he?
Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Pronounced Bell. Jey Uso can't handle the weight of being a world champion. He's got eyes on everyone in this company except Logan Paul. And the biggest fact of all is that, and Logan's favorite is the fact he's knocked out Jey Uso 3 times. He's going to do it again on Saturday. And again, he will become the new world heavyweight champion. And then suddenly Gunther's music hits and he comes out and the crowd chant, "You tapped out at him." Paul smiles and kind of joins in, which is a dangerous decision to make that. And Gunther basically says, I assume you think you're better than me because you're saying you're going to beat the guy who beat me. Talks about confidence, says, where's your respect, Logan Paul? Says Gunther. You're a self-made social media megastar. And if I'm honest, there's things I could learn from you. I could do with some help on social media. That's a hell of a crossover I want to see, by the way. Marketing, you're all good at that. The more I think about it, actually, you as world champion might be best for business. And Logan's interrupts him like 3 times during this because he's so excited that Gunther, der Ring General, knows business and he's basically in the low gang. He says, respect to Gunther, this guy knows business. I love it. And Gunther says, business. That's what this is to you, isn't it? To you it's business, but to me it's very personal. Beating Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship is very personal to me. So if you take that away from me, I will take that as feeling personally disrespected. Maybe ask Pat McAfee how I deal with being disrespected by non-wrestlers, and it cuts to Pat, and he's still obviously selling the injuries.
He was probably fine 24 hours later, so a bit of a bloodshot eye. Who cares?
That guy at least showed some heart, but when I look into your eyes, I don't see a heart. You beat
Kenny Omega decked Excalibur. Nah, about that.
I wish you would.
Yeah.
Featuring a 6-week absence. Anything.
His mask off.
Gunther says, if you beat Jey Uso and square off with me on June 9th, all your accolades don't mean anything. We'll square off, that bell will ring, and I will eat you alive. And he throws down the microphone, and Logan's like, "Where you going?" Turns around, big super kick from a surprise Jey Uso to lay out Logan Paul, and Jey Uso grabs the mic and says, "I'm talking about facts. I'm going to see you on Saturday, and Gunther, I'll see you in Phoenix."
Rafa Benitez.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, what you are.
Indeed, 4 letters, 1 word. Yeet!
Loved it.
Me too.
Loved it. I said when they were in the middle of the Gunther Pat McAfee Fued, the mini Fued, that this was a slow play of the Gunther babyface turn, because there's this ideal that he has for pro wrestling, which right now and for the last few years has been really useful as a heel. But there is a babyface characteristic and a trait within that one day you get to turn on the heels. And this is not now, but it was great to get a little sense of that in how Gunther, I find Gunther probably the best all-rounder to watch in WWE, because his motivations are always crystal clear. It's like his head's invisible and you can see exactly what's going through his brain. I can see where he, like in his rankings, in his power rankings of who's allowed to exist in his world, where Pat McAfee...
5.
Yeah, where Pat McAfee sits as opposed to where Logan Paul sits, and why, for that matter, as well.
Thump.
That as well. Like, I was like wary of it, but the follow-up has already reassured me that like the handshake was the right call. Like the acknowledgement that like Pat McAfee has to turn up for work every week and Gunther has to sanction that, and that handshake was sanctioning Pat McAfee's future existence.
Sanctioning his buffoonery.
Yeah, should he ever deem it fair to criticise Gunther, having kicked his ass, is now going to allow for that.
Hey, you all right?
In the broadest,
so much.
in the broadest sense, yes.
It's the best, isn't it?
The best.
And he did that for Logan Paul before.
I think I want Logan Paul to win on Saturday now.
He did that for Logan Paul before explaining how he would decimate him. And it was tantalising to watch that as like what future awaits a babyface Gunther way down the line. And I said it on the preview yesterday, I really love how as part of the theme of Jey Uso could lose the belt anytime he defends it.
Because he's so bad, but he's the world champion.
It's a good bit, I agree. The queue is longer full of challenges than it was for Cody Rhodes. So he feels even more stressed. You know, the heavy crown that Cody was just about holding up is already like sort of drowning Jey Uso. He's like, Jesus Christ, this is too much. But he'll keep fighting and maybe he'll improve as champion because he'll keep winning or however it plays out.
Oh, he's still fine for that title, yeah.
Over the summer for Jey Uso. The queue should be long because there's a bunch of people that feel what everybody else feels, is that like that title is there for the taking, and he's there to be picked off ultimately. And then with every win, he's going to prove some more people wrong. He's going to beat Logan Paul. He might beat Gunther. Then there's going to be a Money in the Bank briefcase to get stressed out about. Then
Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins is like refusing to go away. Then his allies, his supposed allies, are the ones that he needs to watch out for. Like, this is good booking of the Jey Uso character as world champion. And it feels well thought through. It's why I feel like this brand is like so much more alive after WrestleMania, the change up in the title and this sudden sense of anybody being able to get access to it. Not necessarily by calling the shots. They all appreciate where they're currently at in the queue and how they get further there. But in their minds, when they're at the front, that title's theirs. And I'd like, this was there was more of it on the show, but this was a good exhibition of that.
I will say that it was a good idea, and I'm kind of kicking myself. I often think maybe I am too cynical. Maybe I should indeed let things play out, because even though I don't forecast a title change, they at least did the not Tony Khan thing of just telegraphing within an inch of its life the future directions. To be fair, maybe that's an out-of-date criticism for Tony Khan. I think he has tightened that up. But here they give you a glimpse into, right, okay, well, if Logan Paul does win the title, here's a direction if he does. So maybe it's a red herring. Maybe it's just a bit of bookkeeping, the thing that you should be doing, and he shouldn't just be telling people, all right, okay, well, this is the next Fuad after this one's done. Look, it's Logan Paul talking. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of that.
Sorry.
But Gunther's always good. It's weird how old is he? Oh, hang on.
It's time to play the game! Time to play the game! Ha ha ha!
How old is Gunther? I'm going to go 34.
I was going to say 33, yeah.
Based on facial structure and handsomeness, I'd probably say 40 on the nose.
No, we're all in our 30s. Well,
34.
A little bit older, I'll say 37.
ooh.
You think 33?
Yeah, I was going to say 33.
That's fine.
Am I on? Oh, I am on. There you go. What did you all say then?
33, 34, 37.
Well.
What would you have said?
I would have said, I can't say
The
that.
exact correct answer.
The exact correct answer to the date and time. So in third place, if that's even possible,
Yes.
33. In second place, 34, Michael Sidgwick. And once again, on the flipping money, Mr. Encyclopedia, 37 years old. Does cheat because you are him, so that's,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Inside track.
August birthday.
Ah.
All the best do. Excuse me?
Sorry, I know that's you. When you
The worst, is it?
It's the worst.
It's weird because September's right next to it.
September's the best.
September's the
Best
best.
one.
September's the best because you can get you just go, all right, okay, well, I'm going to start drinking now.
Ah, that is a
And
good
if
point.
You want, if you want to request from me my identification, here it is. Got to the point where sometimes I would just go to the local and sixth form like a massive legend.
Oh,
And just have a bottle of brown in the fell cider just because I could.
that's glass.
At lunchtime, just because I could.
because you could, yeah.
Just because I could.
September's the best. April's the second best because it's a nice equidistance from Christmas and birthday, and you often get it around bank holidays because quite a lot of bank holidays in April. My son's September the 1st, and it keeps hitting him. In a couple of years, he's going to be the oldest person in the whole school.
Yeah.
He's enjoying that very much.
We were talking on the SmackDown review yesterday about the record of achievement.
I remember that.
You still have yours somewhere? My parents randomly dropped mine off, and I'm going to bring it in on Friday.
No, and this is one of the things where it's like, where's my birth certificate?
He said he woke up. Was it on Sunday morning?
Just these are the things that pass through my head.
He just suddenly woke up. Where's my birth certificate?
Yeah, where's my birth certificate?
It's like,
You know that stuff, shouldn't you?
yeah, somewhere in the house.
You can get a new one as well, can't you? You can just order one if it's lost. I'll send you a new one.
That's
out.
fine. That's good.
You can make yourself 39 again.
So you make yourself a birth certificate. You definitely can't do that.
So I ask the question because is Gunther maybe starting to show it? It's just wild watching him improve exponentially as a promo and as a character, as Hamflett says, with his own motivations, and there's core values there, and there's motive, direction. I've been way more impressed by his ability to play a sports entertainer in WWE's world than I have in his actual matches, which was the Gunther thing for so long. When was the last great capital G? You'll friggin' remember it, Gunther match. I don't know, man.
I mean, it's
Cody?
not. I was going to say not a popular one, but Cody for the champion versus champion thing in Saudi would be the one, which was ages ago for Gunther.
Yeah.
He's always been like.
Was it very good or was it great? Considering Gunther was Walter was a practitioner of great,
I take that point.
great matches. Like, what's his record compared to what Gunther's main roster run? Considering that they are meant to be peers in the conversation for top 5. Gunther's WWE match record versus Danielson or Ospreay's AEW big match record. I think it pales in comparison, frankly. But that's what I'm saying. How much does this matter when he's a sports entertainment dude? Now you got to work for the audience you're working in front of. You got to wrestle for the company you're wrestling in. It's a compliment. It's just
his historic consistent skill is the ability to take the temperature of the industry writ large. Like when he was needing to be the Walter, was getting over.
I was like work rate
sensation.
Andre.
Yeah.
Work rate Andre.
Yeah, spot on. He was that. And he kind of became the headline maker from that era. Then moving into WWE and the constant idea of this can never possibly work, and how long he clung on to nobody wanted to cling on to NXT UK or being the NXT UK champion, but Gunther
He wanted to go to America, did he?
No, because he was like,
knew what was coming.
Not yet. It will only get bad for me when I get there. And then
Pin the big baby at Survivor Series.
That's what happened. That's what happened when he finally arrived, and he really did have just about no control. He was like, a month from potentially getting fired or getting given a gimmick that would see him eventually get fired before Vince resigned in disgrace. So save for that one stroke of luck, every other aspect of the way he's developed himself. That was super lucky.
Yeah, it was lucky.
That one was. Every other aspect of how he's developed himself has been about reading the room, deciding what's best for him and where he fits best.
It's a compliment.
Yeah.
Following this, Jey Uso was walking backstage and ran into Paul Heyman. He says, everybody says that I betrayed Roman Reigns and CM Punk, but to betray someone who actually has to stab them in the back, so they saw it coming, really. They should have. But he wants to say this to Jay's face, so he can't be accused of betraying the World Heavyweight Champion. He says, look, tonight you're going to fight Bron Breakker. Title's not on the line, and talking about facts, Bron's not looking for your title, but he is looking forward to slowing your momentum. He's that great of a champion. And whether it's Jey, Logan Paul, or Gunther, it's a short-term run because the long-term plan for the World Heavyweight Championship is Seth freaking Rollins.
Can I go first very quickly? I'm trying to think, why does everything have to bit? Especially when we don't actually do bits, but I'm going to go with Generosity Corner. Is there an actual planned parallel between Logan Paul and Paul Heyman here? The fact stuff. Was that something you were meant to, those dots you were meant to connect and parallels you were meant to draw? They're both talking about facts. Is that because Logan Paul might join up with them?
Possibly.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
God, he can make an already perfect stable even better. No.
Upon
I've always just automatically received as it's great, the stable, is it?
Yes.
I like
Okay,
him.
correct.
Yeah, of all the things post WrestleMania that I feel have made the difference to the energy on Raw, I'd say these are the biggest.
Energy is the word you're going for when you heard Seth Rollins talk tonight.
Yeah. So this is you need to be you don't need to Sidge ever, but being a situational Seth guy is what gets you out of all sorts of difficult situations for when he's a suck-ass loser, because there's plenty of times when he's that as well, but I like him in this role. Okay. In fact, he should be this delusional guy that has to be world champion. That's his whole deal. Paul Heyman already kind of...
Yeah, he should be, but he shouldn't be cast as that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, but I also think he should be cast as that, because sometimes the best gimmicks are the real life person turn up to 11. Paul Heyman talking Bron Breakker out of title contention here is already a sign of things to come there, isn't it? Because of everybody being blinded by this is Seth's spot. He finally, all his bloody life, he wanted to be Evolution Triple H, and now he's getting it. And
10 years of this.
More entertaining than
10
Triple
years
H.
of them having a go at Seth on top. 10 years. How long 10 years is?
We'll end up doing this dance. The WrestleManias stack up. He's had more good than bad.
Who was John Cena working pretty much 10 years ago today? Maybe give or take a couple of days.
2015.
No.
Sami Zayn.
Nope. Better.
Kevin Owens.
First one.
Open challenge arrival. So it technically wasn't working in, but you know what I mean.
That was a time that was out of nowhere. Run that.
In my introduction to Kevin Owens on the.
I was going to say your introduction to John Cena.
Who's this?
He's talking a big game for just simply being the United States champion. Wonder if he's ever going to make it to world status.
In amongst all this, by the way, I forgot to mention. I just wanted to mention the Jey Uso Paul Heyman thing off the back of the Logan Paul thing, because sandwiched in between this was an incredible moment.
Yay!
Roxanne Perez has signed her main roster contract. She's been calling for it.
This man right here. Give him his flowers.
Mark the date in your calendars.
Even though this was expressly designed to tell you it's happened. It's happened. It's happened. It's like the League Cup win. So I stare at the screenshot of Liverpool 1, Newcastle 2 from the BBC website just to make sure it actually happened. I look at the videos and the pictures of them holding up the cup. Did this happen? It still doesn't feel real. This was expressly designed to tell you, not in NXT anymore. You've made the big leagues, kid, after an absolutely bizarre rollout.
Yeah,
Really terrible.
sort of half-arsed,
Months long.
You're on the main roster. Then you're back in NXT.
Terrible rollout for the Goated Cinema Storytelling Company. Never mind. I still just expect it to rock up on NXT tonight.
Yeah.
Doing like a job or something. We'll see.
That show is pretty bloody stacked already.
No
So
space for it. Is that what you're saying?
we'll preview that later on today.
I will have a private beverage. I know I promised to have one. I did a lot of drinking at the weekend and I don't want to do no more for a while.
Yeah.
At least until this weekend.
You'll toast it in your own
Last
time.
day of the season.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not do that at all.
It's a weekend of consequences for the office football teams, apart from you.
I mean,
and
we've
Patterson.
already won the League Cup, so it's fine.
Yeah, you got a nice thing, haven't you? Like,
So we win.
Ewan's going to watch Liverpool lift the trophy.
Yeah. Playoff final. Final day of the season.
Scottish Cup final.
Scottish Cup final, yes.
Murray's going.
And some wrestling going on as well, I should mention.
Too much bloody wrestling.
Busy one.
3 big shows, this weekend.
Busy
Yeah,
one.
two which I'll be watching.
Yeah, NXT Battleground, Saturday night's main event, and the other one. Right.
The other one.
And the rest.
Double. Saturday night's main event at Battleground on nothing. The Sunday show.
God, looks incredible.
Available on Amazon Prime if you're in the UK.
Is it?
Right, it's some sort of
That's how I'll be watching it.
kind of
Paying
thriller.
my money and watching it on there, probably. It's the Judgment Day versus Penta and AJ Styles. The crowd were well up for this, weren't they? I was
What? After a few minutes, so was I. For
Yeah.
sake.
I told you, they're good wrestling. Where did this come from?
Yeah, one match.
Oh, it was 3.
It was 3.
3 matches of good wrestling. Like 2.5 more than I typically need on a Raw, but I would say 3 matches of good wrestling.
Okay, we'll see about that, buddy.
I don't think you mean that, buddy. I think I was insincere.
It's okay, buddy. You'll do it.
So early on, Penta hits McDonough with a backbreaker. Same for Balor. And then they both, Styles and Penta, dive through the ropes, take us to a break onto the Judgment Day. But the heels have taken over during the break, and McDonough's working over Penta. Snapmare goes for Penta's mask. Balor's like, I'll have a bit of that as well, actually. But eventually Penta gets out of it, gets a knee to Balor's face, sling blade, and brings in Styles. And the crowd are like throwing bait. Yes, AJ Styles! So I was like, okay.
I was like, what?
He's finally signed with WWE. I thought he was going to be in New Japan forever.
Yeah. So,
Is that physique? Oh, it's good, isn't it?
Styles, takes over, but Balor goes for his eyes. McDonough comes in. McDonough tries for a splash on Styles, but Styles moves and McDonough hits Balor. McDonough's on the outside. Styles hits a reverse DDT, rolls him back in the ring, but Carlito posts Styles to take us to a break. When we come back, it's Balor and Styles in there, but McDonough and Penta tag him. Penta hits a crossbody from the top on JD. JD goes to do his headstand and just gets kicked in the head.
Nice bit.
But Penta runs at McDonough, and McDonough hits a standing Spanish fly. Balor comes in, goes up top, misses the coup de grace. Penta takes over and hits the sacrifice on Balor. Balor also runs into a kick from Penta. Penta goes up top, but McDonough takes the referee, and Carlito cuts Penta off, and it all breaks down with everyone at ringside. Should point out, by the way, at ringside, no Dominic Mysterio. But Styles takes out Carlito. Penta hit a destroyer on McDonough, leans against the crowd barricade before heading in, and is headbutted in the back of the head by El Grande Americano. Balor rolls Penta back in. Coup de grace, 1, 2, 3.
I was trying to work out what made this connect with this live crowd, other than it was like a hot crowd all night.
Went gaga for this, went banana.
Banana, in a way that they haven't for various sort of combinations of this either side of WrestleMania. And I think, and it's
AJ Styles not been a singles match.
that always helps. It's something.
It's boring now, isn't it?
It's something I haven't really felt the need to bring up lately, but this was a way better example, especially within WWE, of all 4 wrestlers being themselves rather than any 4 wrestlers that you plug into a rote tag formula, because this was formula tag stuff for the most part. Cut-offs, saves, hot tags, all that kind of stuff. But Finn Balor especially, like when he just commits and works full bastard scamp, It's the best. It's the best. Like,
I love that.
There is a theme to when Finn Balor is still enjoyable to watch, and it's always then, and it's typically in tags as well.
It's never in singles.
Never in
ever.
There's too much space and room, and he has to like wrestle for a bit. But like when he can tag out and when he can dick about on the floor and vamp a bit and stuff, that's where the magic is. It's hugely like important in getting the Judgment Day over in the first place. Like to allow like Priest to get over as a babyface quietly while Balor was just being this dickhead always. And now he's this like pretend boss, totally losing control of the whole Judgment Day. JD McDonough gets to be sort of like occasionally quasi babyface, just in sheer contrast to Finn, because he's just not as big a dickhead. But then like the advice seems to be, you've got a massive head, use that, and then that goes wrong. It's like, well, sorry, boss. Like he's thick idiot sidekick, whatever. AJ Styles is like the babyface counterpart to Finn Balor. Again, why their singles matches are so drab. Like, it's just like, kind of same. He's a bad one. He's a good one. What's going to happen? When you actually provide a contrast, when Finn Balor provides a contrast, AJ Styles can be that contrast, and then you get that. He actually plays like a superhero, and this is why you can sell like 90% of your stock in Penta, but never the last 10, because he has another fantastic night and everything clicks again. And it's like he doesn't seem to want to let the push die just yet, even if WWE are kind of willing to move on now. Penta is working like he still fancies a bit of this. Like Penta wants it, and
Who wants it?
Good for Penta, actually. Yeah, like he got a taste of it at the start of this year. And he's like, "Oh, I'll take some more, thanks very much. I've seen the mask sales. Like I've never heard so much in resids. Like I'll take some more." And like fair play, like try and hold on to that.
This was nothing too ambitious. Good, great fundamental.
Yes.
I could do some things with you. Like, this was just lean, bit of gaga to it. That wasn't so state of the art, but what is even that anymore? But then again, like, as you said, like, Balor's body language, his performance, his dickhead aura. And then this was just, they just seemed to just get in that ring, feed off the crowd. It just felt like this animated, living, really cool bit of performance art, which is what pro wrestling should strive to be always. And I tell you what as well, I have talked a lot recently about how much I'm just bored of US cable TV wrestling, especially when you thought you had a different approach to it a few years ago, and you thought you're going to be gone with it. More clean finishes, etc., etc. I actually got annoyed in a good way when they picked such a cool spot to do, and then instantly go, no more of that, the match is over because the heel's been a bastard. Oh, for God's sake. I was really enjoying that. I thought, that's what I was meant to think.
Yeah.
Cool timing of when to do the interference, and they picked an awesome spot to go, right, enough of this, they're going to win because they're the cool action baby faces. They've just demonstrated that with an unbelievable spot. Right, okay, enough of this. Like, the timing of it was brilliant. It's just fun ass TV wrestling. This fun, loud, really well put together, really well performed. Again, just that animated. It felt real. Lively.
It's reminding me of this, and this was not that. This was like a total opposite of the stuff that we will sometimes get annoyed about. The type of TV wrestling that we're all collectively a bit tired of, even when it's well executed or like well performed or whatever. It was like an accidental mini culture war on X that I genuinely think was born out of people earnestly posting. There was just this like kind of exasperated and sad clip of like it was a Meltzer driver from a PWG match, and like somebody was just posting, "Oh, I really miss this PWG," and I didn't sense it was this attempt to like drive any wedges or anything. Somebody quote tweeted, also I don't think was an attempt to drive any wedges, just like, what do you mean? There's matches that look like this multiple times a week, every week in all of wrestling. And it was like, they were both just like, I don't think either of us know what we want. There was no attempt to have a fight. It was just, like when somebody would like, man, I wish we could get these days again. There'd just be some Attitude Era clip or whatever. That was the 9 WWE. This was neither of those things.
Yeah.
It was just, it was a Meltzer drive. And it was like, is he Dynamite? Like last Wednesday, or maybe the Wednesday before, or like occasionally on like a Raw, or like the TLC on SmackDown, whatever. Like, it's everywhere. It's a credit to PWG, if anything. But yeah, just weird.
It is weird.
Following this, Kathy Kelly's backstage with IYO SKY, asked about how she's feeling, obviously being on the other side of Money in the Bank. And she says, look, I know what it takes to
Every single time I hear that phrase in any context whatsoever.
broken my brain. Yeah.
It's fixed your brain, I would say.
Whoever wins, she'll be ready because she's the genius of the sky. And Becky Lynch walks up and says, never beat me one-on-one. I've put down one champion. I'm not afraid to put down another. And she walks out for this triple threat Money in the Bank qualifier. Before that, nothing to say on this, I assume.
No, not one thing.
Logan Paul's is on his phone backstage. Seth Rollins walks up and tells Paul, Jey Uso is going to get hurt tonight because he stuck his nose in my business. Come Saturday, he's not going to be 100%, so the odds are going to be in your favor, Logan. And Seth said if Paul can get past Jey and Gunther, Seth is going to be waiting on the other side. And you know to thank if you win this weekend, basically. We could run it back from WrestleMania a couple of years ago, but this time with the world title on the line.
It took you, 14, 16 seconds, that range? For you to talk about Seth's promo, took him 5 hours. This spaced out, slow cadence, this rhythm that he has in these promos. In doing this, he makes himself seem like sinister and calculated, as if, I can take my time with this because I can see into the future and I'm a calculated, cunning guy. How do you not hate this? How do you not listen to him and think, oh, God, great. Paul Levesque's little buddy is now the top heel on Raw, doing his, be slow, make it more meaningful, drivel. I find him to be such a fake, synthetic wrestler in every pore of his being. He's not remotely entertaining. He is playing a role. He never convinces me that he's anything other than a good, loyal WWE soldier who is so competent. So competent. When was the last time Seth Rollins botched? When was the last time Seth Rollins flubbed the line? When's the last time he did anything that he would get buried for by management? It's like he is. When there's a football player in your team and the coach just has this irrational obsession with picking them week in, week out, because they do things that you can't see. And it's like, he's not Maverick. He's not entertaining. He's not charismatic. He's not particularly great in the ring. He's never really wrestled that many 5-star matches, even though he sort of performs in that style. But God damn it, if I put him in that pitch 3 p.m. on a Saturday, he's not going to make a mistake. He's not going to make a mistake. Seth Rollins is Sean Longstaff. Seth Rollins is the boring footballer who is just in your team and you like him again. Why? Because in this role, doesn't really make too many mistakes and he's dependable, thoroughly dependable. Seth Rollins. I cannot imagine I cannot comprehend anyone except Paul Levesque thinking, oh, yay. Seth Rollins is saying things and he's doing moves. I'm not being funny. I simply don't get it at all. And you know what this whole Seth run reminds me of? If I'm going to do an analogy here. So when just things get hot, and then things get hot, and because they're hot, a lot of artists rip off the things that are hot. And you get, like new metal, I'm trying to think of an example here. It's like, right, you got Korn and Limp Bizkit, right? Okay, well, Power Man 5000 are on the scene. And everyone's like, oh, they do the same riffs and they've got the similar look. I'll buy their record. Just because new metal's hot, I was doing Power Man 5000. I was doing American Head Charge. I was doing, Spine Shank. How the is Seth freaking Rollins the top heel in a boom period? How? Has he earned it? Does he warrant it?
People enjoy engaging with him, yeah. I think in the simplest form, yeah. I think people when he was a babyface, like singing his song. And that was enough.
Okay, well, just put Def Rebel in the main event of WrestleMania, and let's be done with it. Yeah, whatever. Change the show if you want. Have Def Rebel headline it. Doesn't matter, we're in a boom period, so much gets forgiven, and then you'll realize 5 years later how that Spine Shank get a platinum. I'll never.
This is a bit like.
Is that what?
Well, I would say this is a bit like. So, we all either make or don't make connections with wrestlers, and we're entitled to our own personal experience, even if it differs from a vast majority. I don't think it's a vast majority with Seth Rollins, but I think your experience of Seth Rollins differs from a large majority of WWE fans' experience of Seth Rollins. The only comparison I can think of recent times is when you just like, I can never connect with CM Punk as a babyface, and the man's out there getting like monster.
I get it
monster
though.
pop.
I get it. He's a charismatic megastar, dude.
No, I know his work's amazing, but like you would say, I can never receive this guy as a babyface.
Yeah, 'cause he's a likable
I'll only
prick.
deeply connect with him when he turns heel because of your personal relationship with the character. I think funnily enough, Seth Rollins is the lightweight example of a CM Punk analogy, but like I think that's happening here. I think there is a. I don't have any data on this, right? It's just enough of watching WWE. I don't think you can deny the obvious connection that Seth Rollins has with like WWE fans going back this decade, and because the decade counts as well. It's like it's all equity that he's built with this audience, and he does like. Here's maybe a better comparison. Neither of us ever gave a shit about The Undertaker.
No.
But the longer he stuck around, because more people put him in their Mount Rushmores, made him their double-goated, nobody can touch The Undertaker. We are absolutely in an era where people think like that of a Seth Rollins.
I get Taker. I get it. He's got a presence. He's got a mystique. The entrance, when it's done right, you buy it as, oh, God, someone's going to get their ass kicked by this invincible force. I'm talking about boom periods, okay? Yes, I can understand why Triple H had 2003 going for him. He married into the family, and the ratings went up. It's like, I get that.
And everybody else left.
Since a wrestler leading a boom period, I think I literally get the appeal of every single one of them, even if I'm personally not the biggest fan of them in the world.
Yeah.
I cannot fathom the Seth Rollins business. I know he's not led it. I know he's not instrumental in it. I didn't even like the bloodline. I thought the plotting was so much more like terrible and contrived and it was an idiot plot for 4 years. I got the appeal because Roman's cool as hell. Saw him in that bloody tracky. I loved the acting when he's like, the differences in the acknowledgements when he's rattled and like Lesnar's throwing chairs at him. He's like, acknowledge me, because he's like, that's all. I got the performance, I got the presence, I got the TV charisma, I got everything. Seth Rollins is at the top of the show when the boom period's already happening. It would never drive this. I'll never get this dude as long as I live. And it looks like, because we've been doing this for a decade, by the way.
We had a Seth Rollins chat, I think it was ahead of WrestleMania, similar one about like his...
I talk about this every week, bro.
About this like...
I'll never get it.
About like, I think I was more of a fan of how he'd wedged himself in and like...
He's a little...
And justified the spot, rather than I remember you thinking, what's he doing?
Yeah, but then for the last 5 minutes of the actual cool or intriguing Punk Roman interactions, Seth just stood there for 5 minutes and people forgot he was there.
I don't know, like, I think there is a lot to be said for...
He's got a single characteristic that you would equate with a megastar top wrestling.
Well, you have higher standards, right? I'm going somewhere with this. I think there is a lot of credit around the phrase part of the furniture. You don't.
No.
Seth Rollins is
not for a top star.
Maybe not for the top star.
Set me on fire.
But I don't think... Well, he will with his big flamethrower. But I don't think Seth Rollins occupies this very unique space, which is a little box labeled Seth Rollins' space. He is never the top guy. He is being presented here as a top guy on a show full of several top guys, but he is never the tippy top.
Maybe he's the top heel on the flagship. It's built around him, these shows.
The shows are being built around him, but look at the time of year we're in, just for example, right? Yeah. Like, and he is coming off the back of main event in a WrestleMania and been able to lay claim. He's always got things that he can lay claim to, for better and worse. I'm not arguing for everything he's ever done in his career. But like WWE has always pushed people who feel so part of the furniture that fans will always trust them. You know, like the best and worst example was the Kane Backlash Extreme Rules match, wasn't it? Well, it's Kane and Big Show, like the part of the furniture. Seth Rollins is like 50 times better part of the furniture example than a Kane or a Big Show. Like
I should hope so.
I'd take 100 Seth Rollins over one Kane, for example.
It's not the best argument.
Well, but I think it is.
I would take a kick to the balls over Kane.
Well, yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah, I know. But
I said, sit down, no phone, watch an hour of Kane. Yeah. Or I'll kick in the balls once. That, please. Do it twice if you want, just to make sure.
At least send it over, yeah. I'm trying to articulate what I believe to be more than just he's a good soldier, he's the Triple H instruction follower. He is all those things. That's the reason why CM Punk didn't want to work him at WrestleMania, because he sees the difference between stars and not quite stars. But I don't think that's reflective of like the boom era audience, the boom era that we're speaking of. I think like him. I think they respond to him. I think they do respect him in this role. The way that WWE measures so much by numbers, we know this to be true as well, based on certain attributes of certain wrestlers and whatnot. Seth Rollins isn't in the spot if they don't trust those numbers and don't trust those reactions. And yes, everybody's got to be catered to.
Don't get it.
Yeah, I know you don't get it.
Yes.
I think
I never will.
Yeah, and I think Seth Rollins is gotten by large swathes of people to justify the spot.
I think I like singing this terrible song.
They won't get too soon. They're going to change that music, and that'll be interesting because he's like the slow talking is like a return to the heel, the dressing down as opposed to what he's worn previously, which reminds me of something, a phrase I learned today. Thanks a lot, Twitter. You notice a few times he was struggling with his jeans. And like as they rolled down, you could just see his arse. So presumably he was going commando. And somebody said, free balling in jeans on TV is wild. I'm like, that's good.
Free ball.
Free balling.
Maybe you should get a better wardrobe. Maybe you should, come out and wear...
He's actively getting a worse wardrobe from what he's had the last few years. He's Chris Jericho, isn't he? Don't sell my merch. I'll wear a suit. Like he's taking that path now. Yeah. He's more like kind of a flashy Orange Cassidy on this one as opposed to stuff he normally wears.
Orange Cassidy can sell.
Oh, I like Orange Cassidy more than Seth Rollins.
Yeah, thank you.
Christ, it's not that conversation. Bloody hell. I've got standards too.
Thank you.
It's not as high as yours.
Following on from that, we got another Money in the Bank qualifier. It was Becky Lynch versus Roxanne Perez versus Natalya.
No! 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 No!
Sorry, I thought it was Natalya's entrance music.
Well, where on the soundboard would it be?
Hang on, let's have a quick look. I think it's this one.
You know you want that.
Close enough.
You were not an acerbic person, and yet close enough. Like that's so brutal.
I love that side of him when Natalya comes out.
Yeah.
Not what was it?
I want a blood sport match between you and Natalya. Let's go.
Jesus. Becky Lynch early on convinces Perez to attack Natalya and then tries to throw her out, but Perez is wise to this and throws Becky Lynch to the outside. Natalya suplexes Lynch for 2, but surprise, surprise, you can't put on the sharpshooter there. Gets counted into a disarmer. Perez breaks that up, but Natalya blocks the manhandle slam. There's a dive onto both of them.
I like stuff when it's a work. Like, she couldn't do it because the match was thrown that way. It's because she's useless. For real.
She also does it later.
She does it, so she let go because that was the part of the match where she lets go. Idiot. Can't even do it right. Yeah. Does a double one of it. It actually looks good for it.
Yeah. Very. Back from the break. Perez has got control. Hits some running elbows on both of them. Natalya hits a discus clothesline on both women. Stack them up for a double sharpshooter, but they both get out of it here. Perez hits a moonsault onto both Becky Lynch and Natalya. Sets up for pop rocks, but Lynch counters into a manhandle slam. But Natalya reappears and takes out Lynch, and they're all down. Natalya and Becky Lynch are struggling in the corner, and Perez sort of pop rocks, which meant a German suplex as well involved in it. And Perez covers Natalya, but Lynch breaks it up with a knee to Roxanne's head. And Natalya powerbombs Lynch for 2, and then superplexes Perez for 2, and then does get a double sharpshooter on Becky Lynch and Roxanne Perez at the same time. But Becky gets the ropes and rolls to the outside. She comes back in, hits a manhandle slam on Natalya. Looks like she's got it won. Looks like she's heading to Money in the Bank. But Lyra Valkyria appears and drags Becky Lynch out, and they brawl. Perez hits Natalya with pop rocks to win and advance to Money in the Bank.
I really enjoyed this. Just a nice triple threat spot fest with like I was really pleased. I was like really rooting for Roxanne Perez because those were the stakes were laid out. I wanted her to get into Money in the Bank. I really liked Lyra Valkyria's involvement in it because I'm happy for that to continue, and like evidently like the audience are as well. It wasn't the kind of you're taking somebody out of the match and it feels like you spoiled like the mix. Far from it, it was like obviously just opening the door for Roxanne Perez to be opportunistic, and that had its own credit, I guess. No, there was it was just all empty calories. ultimately. I couldn't see any particular type of story they were trying to tell other than a jockeying for position sprint triple threat. But I just really enjoyed it. Like Natalya, in spite of your review, like had a pretty good night as the third wheel in there. And yeah, the usage of it as a way to progress the Becky and Lyra thing, or reheat it, I guess, coming out the back of Backlash, I thought was quite impressive. I didn't think they were going to do that. I will say that we said, there was nothing to add about Becky and IYO. Well, maybe there was, because a bit like the Logan Paul and GUNTHER thing, they were showing you the prospect of Becky and IYO, but then 2 segments later, actually saying, not yet, later. There's Becky and Lyra business to be done, and that's when we also know there's Becky and Bayley stuff to be done as well. Like, that's what I'm talking about when I keep mentioning the multiple pathways for the big stars.
On that, you say later. Is that necessarily true? How often did we see WWE on the road to WrestleMania tease a confrontation or a future match between wrestler X, wrestler Y, and it never coming to pass?
That's a fair criticism. He was getting greedy with that. That's fair.
Getting greedy with that, and I think like I've lost the trust of WWE to give me something that I might actually want on the back of the road to WrestleMania. I thought this match was actively bad at various points. I thought Roxanne Perez's, when she was doing those head scissor takedowns when people were like kneeling and stuff, just looked weak as piss. Looks like she was just kind of jumping over them, wrapping her legs loosely around and then just flopping down. And there was no sense of driving the head into the mat. I thought the impact, how snugly it was all done, was really feather light and just like you had to like fill in the blanks. Is this anything? I know. I thought the execution of a lot of this. That was the bad execution alarm. If we can overhear it at WhatCulture Studios here in lovely sunny Gateshead. I thought a lot of this looked light and a bit sloppy and a bit like, I'll just about feign to do the thing that I'm trying to do, and then the rest you can just fill in the blank. And my God, there was a spot here that I was just like, Jesus, what are we doing here? That double sharpshooter, like, why don't you? How long has Natalya been wrestling? Too long, but yeah, I want to say.
And I mean, folks, where's the lie?
It's Bobby Finish.
I want to say what we're talking 15-year pro, 20-year pro.
Yeah, 2008 in WWE, and she was probably at it about 5 or 6 years before that.
Nearly 2 decades.
Maybe more. 2005, I would say she probably debuted like 03, maybe something.
It's probably in the dungeon.
Well, yeah.
For about
birth.
She worked Stampede in July 2002.
Yeah, so
23 years.
You'd think after 23 years that if you're going to apply a submission, you would kind of do it in the middle of the ring. And yes, I understand, because isn't that what they say on commentary? Goes, well, look at our ring awareness. Got to clean in the middle there, far away from the ropes. The image was pitiful of Roxanne Perez and Becky Lynch mere centimeters from the rope for this double sharpshooter spot going. Just reach out and grab the rope. So imagine if you're on fire. Okay.
Like WWE in 2025.
2024.
In case you weren't aware.
2024. Meteorologist over here. Imagine you're on fire and there's a button like an inch away from your face and your fingers still work and the button says, can you stop putting me on fire, please? You would just press it, wouldn't you?
I would be grateful. I would be grateful such a button exists.
Rubbish work.
They're a massive button on tiny text.
Rubbish.
Putting me on fire, please.
Stop putting me on fire, please.
Of all the things I could have wished for, that button.
That was an unforgivably bad spot. I mean, it's one of those where it's like, ordinarily, if there was like a one-on-one match, maybe I'll try and be a little bit generous here, right? You'd go, right, just drag me in the middle of the friggin' ring. I'm obviously too close to the ropes for this. Maybe it's hard to drag too.
Yeah.
Maybe so it's on Natalya. Scoot forward. I mean, it was crap, this. I really thought it was crap.
I thought it was the second of 3 good matches.
Jey Uso and Sami have a nice moment in the locker room.
Wasn't that nice, was it?
Sami reassures Jey, you don't need to worry about Heyman and his gang because we'll take care of it this weekend. You handle business with Bron tonight, and I've got your back.
Tension between these two is fantastic. Sami Zayn does so, not so much with so little, because he obviously gets plenty of time to tell his stories these days, but he always does so much when he's on camera. Like, there's so many little looks, and like he does that wrestler shapeshifter thing where their face changes slightly, and some of it is because you're projecting it on them.
Mm-hmm.
But he, like, compare this Sami Zayn and how he holds himself in like some of the little micro expressions versus Sami Zayn from the trial of Sami Zayn, or the T-shirt segment, or any of those Bloodline ones when you have to watch it multiple times because you have to watch. Right, now I'm going to do the Jey Uso area.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to do the like they were all so great at that at the time, and like watch the Sami Zayn and Jey Uso segments.
I did that
especially.
with Dan Ballard's header, by the way. I watched each player as he heads it.
Oh yeah, because you can just like slow it down.
Corner
and see it.
taker.
There was a Sky Sports thing that I saw where somebody had like been asked to obviously get together all the different phone views of it as well. And you capture different things each time. It was a Bloodline-esque goal. Now you say it like that. Cinema. Thank you for that comparison, Wilbourn. Hadn't thought about it like that.
And then Postman Pierce has Alpha Academy in his office. Gets quite annoyed here. Oh, knock! Because Akira Tozawa accepts the match or wants the match and gets it with Rusev next week. And it's confirmed also next week is the triple threat for the tag team titles.
Do we have to do triple threats for the tag team titles when it's triple threat City Jones for the Money in the Bank qualifiers?
I was having too good a time with this Raw to worry about next week's bad time. It was illustrated to me in this segment.
We don't have to preview it.
Oh, yes.
Bank holiday, ain't it?
And they might over-deliver.
Still have to watch it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Watch it, yeah.
Still get to watch it. Come on, Sidge. Still blessed with Raw.
Blessed.
Longest one in weekly.
It's not a religious experience, mate. Oh, no.
That and Gunsmoke just every week.
Oh, religion's a faith. I've got faith in the Fed.
So then we got Sheamus versus Grayson Waller, which went exactly as the way I thought it was going to. Although there was a...
I've never seen the meme. In America, it's a joke. What's it in Japan? It's a tradition. In Mexico, it's a religion. In America, it's a joke.
Is that the business?
Yeah, it's like I'll show you. It's something that's great.
Feels reflective of some of like the people whose opinions I hear the most. I like that.
In America, it's a joke.
During this match, there was an incredibly loud Austin Theory chant as we came back from the break.
Yeah.
The match went exactly as you thought it was going to. He cheated. He used the help of Austin Theory occasionally, but then Austin Theory also...
forever, this.
I thought the match was crepe.
Sheamus won. 10 beats to the... Austin Theory was like, no, you can't leave. Get back in there. And the Theory laughs at him as he gets beat, basically, with the bro kick.
So I can't be a hypocrite and like kind of come to the defense of Seth Rollins because Sidge doesn't like him and being like, no, everybody's wrong about this Austin Theory guy. I'll surrender to this like emotional response to Austin Theory of all people. And yet I kind of still want to lift a bit of the credit away because I just genuinely think it's rooted in Grayson Waller being a decent heel. Like he is a big arsehole to Austin Theory. Now it's been going on several years, so I've kind of lost interest in it myself. But if people haven't and they're ready to take Austin Theory as the babyface off the back of this, that is frankly a remarkable success story because he's not got it.
Yeah, was this not the outlier in terms of the crowd reactions to this program, which, as you mentioned, has been going on for at least a calendar year?
Oh, longer. Yeah. It's not that hot in buildings most of the time. No. To be fair, a lot of the time they're in the Redmond position or they're given like skits to do rather than stuff in the ring. And Grayson Waller is he emotes well as a heel. I don't think the matches leave any memories whatsoever, but he does emote pretty well. And
I liked when they teamed up to face Obafemi, but I think maybe that's just Obafemi.
Yeah. And again, the times when he was throwing him under the bus in that match as well. Like, and in the build up to it. So that's when Austin Theory feels the best prospect as a babyface, is when he's in direct contrast to his much bigger arsehole of a partner. But again, if like eventually they get somewhere with Austin Theory, more power to them. I've never seen it once.
Not one bit, no.
I like the egg stuff. Everyone liked the egg stuff.
You and your egg.
I just want to hear his voice.
Egg.
All right, and now on to the Michael Hamflett part of the program, because Cole and McAfee interview Tyrese Halliburton. And I immediately thought, oh my God, Hamflett's going to be losing his mind. They did a call back to, who is it, the other guy that they was...
Jalen Brunson.
Thank you. Who was missing from the...
Yes.
Yes.
I think I made it clear last year it was my favourite segment of SmackDown on account of my interest in basketball. This was nice. This nice in my worlds colliding. Appreciate WWE reaching out to me. Oh, Hamflett's gone into basketball. Let's see what we can do with that for him.
Hamflett's also apparently going to be buying 2K because now Tyrese Halliburton's a playable character in the game.
Yeah, it's a nice coincidence how all this has worked out. They had a little face-off on last year's SmackDown, and now they're playing each other in the playoffs.
Eastern Conference Finals.
Eastern Conference Finals.
There's a bet going as well. Cole and McAfee say if the Knicks win, which is, whose team's that?
Phil's.
Okay.
Although I kind of want them to win, because otherwise if Pacers beat Knicks, then it's a me versus me grand final. There's drama in that.
Yeah. If the Knicks win, Pat has to wear a suit on Raw, and if the Pacers win, Cole's going to have to wear a tank top. That's funny. Also, Tyrese Halliburton.
Like the lads.
Tyrese Halliburton also has his own WWE merch.
Yes.
I want to look this up.
It's like an Austin 316 shirt, but the skull is a basketball. It's kind of awesome. Actually, yeah. It's the 2001 Austin 316.
Expect that on the podcast very soon then.
I think it's in team colours. I can't remember. The playoffs are massive. This is a gift to WWE. Absolutely take advantage of two basketball players that for a bit of fun you positioned against one. Yeah, it's all right, isn't it?
Why is it?
That's good.
Why is it 317?
I think it was something to do with when he scored this like dramatic 3-pointer or something like
One
that.
better than Austin.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
one better. But the ball on fire on the back is it's quality. Yeah, there was two things that stuck out to me.
Clearance. Man City fight till the end. Well, not quite. But
it's fallen in their laps that these two players had this WWE exchange last year. Josh Ego on Twitter did the brilliant My Way video that was doing the rounds over the weekends. That went viral. Loads of people.
Yes, I saw that.
Great. Like, they're capturing a little moment, and why not? And just unrelated to any pro wrestling, if you want to see this basketball, tune in. Wednesday night, 8 o'clock. Watch the basketball. Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, enjoy the basketball.
Anything to say about the hoops?
I like the Last Dance.
Who's your if you had to pick a team?
Bulls.
Yeah.
Because like it penetrated UK.
Jesus Christ, Wilbourn.
I'll talk about that. I had, when I was
It
young,
shagged the 90s.
because like Jordan was such a monoculture superstar internationally that I was like, right, okay, well, people know who he is in Space Jam, and I just had a Bulls jersey when I was younger.
Did you? That's class.
Without even watching a single game, just the odd clip wherever I could find it. And I like The Last Dance a lot. You know what I like as well? I'm weird about this. You know, everyone likes an underdog. Yeah, underdog wins. Not me, dog. I like a dynasty, mate. I really admire.
John Cena.
Shut the up. It's fake. It's fake.
I was just watching that promo
It's
before I came in.
fake. And that never had actual competition.
He was the New York Yankees.
Right.
Do I have your attention now?
Right, okay. I actually really appreciate it and admire it because I don't really have much in the way of like, you know, I've got my anxieties and stuff like that. I really admire athletes who have like the mental prowess to just win and win and win and win and win. I know it's not the Bulls, but it was once upon a time, and it was Jordan. To the point where I almost feel like a bit of sadness coming on when someone's overtaken them. So you put all of that mental strength in, and then someone comes along who's a bit younger. And I really love Federer, tennis player. I love Roger Federer. Just seems like a nice guy, beautiful. He was like the casual fan tennis guy for me. People came in for Austin because I could watch Federer Wimbledon finals. I used to love the Federer. He was such a beautiful player. And I don't like Djokovic. No. Seems like a wanker, and I just feel like he's got the same thing.
Do you like Nadal?
And he was like Federer's rival.
Yeah.
Federer's
The flashy one.
Piece, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a piece, but he didn't stack up the wins quite as much.
No.
Cheat because he's clay, so it's kind of not fair. But you're more of a Fed fan than anything else, really.
I like the Chicago Bulls.
I can't remember what I was going
immediately thought of the Fed when he said Roger Federer there. That's exactly what happened to me.
The
Deep down.
Federer.
Federer.
Dr. Fed.
You got a team,
World
Nicholas?
Wrestling Federer.
No, I don't have a team. I once watched Orlando Magic play basketball.
There you go.
That's
That's your team now.
nope.
Yeah, you obviously didn't care for it.
False. No, I like basketball. I just there's too many teams. Yeah, there's too many teams now. Until I
Too
have
many things to care about
Until
as
I have
well,
a
isn't there?
personal connection to a team, I'm not just going to willy nilly start picking them at random. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who would do that?
Minnesota Timberwolves have my heart, but at this point, the three of them have my face on because that's who we picked at random.
Right.
What I've learned in my brief period watching basketball, which will soon come to an end, I know myself, this has just been a really fun little trip with the playoffs, and then that'll be gone. And to Sidge's point about the dynasty and that Bulls team is profiled in The Last Dance, I've really enjoyed. And you see it here with these two, there'll be one player that has to take the game by the scruff of the neck, and all the pundits have told you about this player, and they'll either have this great night or this terrible night, and it's kind of triumph and heartbreak at the same time on the same court. But when that one player plays really well and drives the team forward in spite of any other factors, you can see the other team be like, we have to get back up to his level. It's kind of amazing. It's kind of like, oh, here's the one that's going to shoulder all the pressure, and they knew they were going to have to do this. They know they're the star man, but now we all have to try that extra hard as well. And that's really cool to see as somebody with not a drop of sporting acumen or competitive instinct, really.
Or talent.
All of the above.
Basketball, you good at?
I'm actually half decent at basketball, but again, put it in a competitive environment and I'll crumble. Apart from playing my best friend. Maybe he let me win. He didn't let me win. It's amazing to me that they can have those abilities and then control their brains in a way that actually benefits from it, because I just couldn't be further from who I am as a person. It's impressive.
Then Kathy Kelly interviews Gunther backstage. She asks if his game plan is different heading into June 9th. But before he can answer, Seth Rollins walks in and he's there to let Gunther know that the work Gunther did with his World Heavyweight Championship was pretty good stuff. Gunther said he heard about this long-term plan and said, Seth, you're kind of short-sighted for a visionary. Gunther said he was the future, and Rollins said, look, this is just a courtesy. If you find that title around your waist again, you're going to be treated like no different than anyone else. You'll be a target. And Gunther said he couldn't wait. In fact, he's eagerly awaiting the punishment.
I like a big prize and a roster full of prize fighters. It is, Seth debate. This is how you're supposed to book all your top line guys. John Cena's in the bed over there, so you might as well do your best to elevate this one.
Another qualifier next. This is obviously completely overshadowed by the terrible injury that Zoe Stark suffered. We've all probably seen the clip of her. I've seen people slow it down. I don't need to see any of that slowed down. Hope Zoe Stark is recovering well. Hope she's all right, because her knee, I don't know if it's blown out or what, but her leg went in completely the wrong direction. She was going for a missile dropkick early, which left us with a Rhea Ripley and a returning Kairi Sane. Great to see her back. But yes, Zoe Stark was taken out early on in this match, and when they came back, all I could think was, so you're pinning Kairi Sane on her first night. Obviously not the original plan. And it's kind of difficult to review this match as well. A, because of the injury, and B, because of they quite clearly were going, right, what are we doing? Yeah. So in the end, Kairi Sane, they sort of trade shots. Kairi Sane goes up top, goes to the insane elbow, but Ripley gets a boot up, ducks a shot to the face, headbutt, riptide, 1, 2, 3. Rhea Ripley qualifies for Money in the Bank.
They put together a competent back and forth with simply awful, understandably awful vibes. Yeah. In the shadow of a really gruesome injury.
It looked horrible, didn't it?
That you could see and hear, because Zoe Starks was screaming and screaming in pain. The
instant pull up was oh.
Yeah. So fair play to Rhea and Kairi for that, because wrestlers should be able to do that if they're pros and they've been at it long enough, and these two have.
It's a job.
But in the shadow of that, it was particularly difficult to get any kind of reaction, because an audience have just seen something pretty grim, and they got a little bit of a reaction by the end, and I think that's probably what you have to credit them for. And I get well seeing Zoe as well, because it was the other leg to the one she did for that massive timeout she had in NXT, wasn't it? Saw a picture of her on a crutch with a brace from the last time. I'm pretty sure it was the opposite leg, so it's rough. Real rough. Don't watch it if you're not into that sort of thing. It's one of them horror
ones. If you're
ones.
into that sort of thing, have a word with yourself.
Well, yeah.
Nothing more to add. Was what it was.
I did like
best wishes.
Kairi Sane being back though, and throwing coins into the crowd to start, which which is, I thought, that's a risky strategy there. Ah, Jesus.
What's that gag from a TV show? The Simpsons.
Simpsons, where they throw money from a balloon.
That's it, yeah.
It's
yeah.
Mr. Burns
Mr. Burns trying to
pennies.
copy Arthur Fortune.
We get an ominous vignette of Rusev going to kill Tozawa basically next week. And then...
Oh my God.
We go to the clubhouse.
This is good stuff.
And they're celebrating, obviously. Finn Balor walks in and introduces the newest member of the Judgment Day, Roxanne Perez. And everyone's like, huh? What do you mean? And Balor's like, what's wrong, guys? I mean, Dom, you said yourself we needed more numbers a few weeks ago.
This is a good detail, that.
It's all. This was all good
It's a
stuff.
good
This
detail,
whole
this.
segment.
And Dom's like, well, I think we should talk to Liv before any decisions are made. And Finn's like, well, I think Liv will appreciate this because let's not forget, Dom, you got me, you got JD, you got Carlito, all watching your back. And this poor Raquel and Liv, no one watching their backs, but now we got little Roxanne here. And says, and anyway, hey, she's not a member of the Judgment Day, she's just some outside help. Roxanne says, hi guys, nice to meet you. Just trying to find my place. I appreciate what you've done on Raw. In fact, I've got some presents. She's got some chicken tendies for Dom, who suddenly is like, wait a second, Roxanne Perez.
Hey! You all right?
And Carlito gets a big bag of apples, which I love Raquel.
This was
Apples away.
brilliant. Did you see how that played out? So like he kind of like looks in the bag. Yeah, Carlito's a child in the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So he looks in the bag and he sees.
They're all children in the Fed. Carry on.
He takes a bite out of his apple. He's like really pleased with his apple, and like Raquel slaps it out with his hand, and then they carry on going back to the bit, and then Carlitos goes back in the bag, pulls out a second apple. Nice.
And Raquel's like really fuming, like you say, and she says, Liv's going to hear about this. And Finn just goes, can't wait. He's class. This is awesome.
He's going to be buzzing with this. Dominic leaving the lingering eye as Roxanne left the shop.
It was one of those where, like, you hate to see her go, but you like to see her leave situations. In the mind of Dominic Mysterio, of course.
Indeed. It's exactly what Finn did the last time. Because Damian Priest was the world champion, Rhea Ripley was the women's champion. He was like, I've lost my control of my leadership. It's happening again. Dominic Mysterio's got a belt. Like, I'm giving you what you want. And it's great. Like, and this was really funny. Like, there was a lot to like about this. Dominic Mysterio, the blocking was good. Like, holding these chicken nuggets, these tendies in the foreground. Like everything else is dark. This bright white box of like chicken tendies. It's idiot. Like, there you go. Is your nuggets, you big baby.
You've won me over.
Yeah, enjoy. Roxanne, she didn't have to put on a purple light. Thanks, Sid.
That's good stuff.
Yeah,
it's not good.
I loved it. Loved this.
There were more nuggets than tendies.
Yes,
Yes,
they were,
sorry,
yes.
yes.
Is that a deliberate detail?
Imagine if it was.
So when they eventually go...
Finn got it a bit wrong.
Yeah, so when they eventually go, I've got something to say. I don't want to spend any more time with you. Liv Morgan in this scenario, Hamflett.
Yes, please. I'm the best wrestler in the world.
All right, okay. I don't want to spend any more time with you. Roxanne Perez.
Oh!
So you got me nuggets instead of tendies. Obviously, it's sold for the nuggets being good, but wrestling's stupid, isn't it? So
She doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Like, nor does Finn Balor, because he's never listened to him, really. Not really.
They're not cultured like Dominic Mysterio.
I thought
These
this
are
was,
more nuggets than tendies, I'm afraid.
I thought this was excellent. And, like, it's... Like, Triple H has needed to do this more with his mysterious background conversations.
It's been going on for months, hasn't it? Yeah.
Like, this one has gone on, like, 3 weeks, and it's been brought to the foreground, and it's happened all at the right time, at the right place.
and it's exactly the same way as Liv, yeah.
Yeah, and
I know
Roxanne
it's-
Perez has just qualified for Money in the Bank, so, like, she's already on that ascendancy. Like, all good stuff, this.
I'm not being funny, right? This is obviously not my kind of thing. You used to were always higher on the Judgment Day than me. But in terms of plotting craft, right, which I am about, irrespective of characters and the nature of the characters, right? There's like incident here, callbacks, a continuity. This actually felt like a plotted storyline on a TV show, as opposed to the main event, which is really quickly, this main event scene devolved into run-in, babyface save, interference, babyface save. Like, it's all diminished returns, really, for me. This daft little mid-card thing even though dissension's constant within the Judgment Day and it's become a bit of a meme, to go from, I'd actually forgotten about Dominic going, I think we need a new member. For Finn to subvert that as a way to undermine him, and in doing so, you get Roxanne Perez, a much better platform to the main roster than this really weird tag team with Julia. It's like, I like ideas. I like plotting. I like a decent. This is halfway decent for them. This,
and there's like real value in it as well, because it is the same as Liv Morgan last year. And what started off as an idea became the main event scene of Raw, because people buy it and believe in it. And there's like the ceiling gets higher and higher and higher. The better the idea is, and the better the plotting and the crafting becomes. Like it's at the root of most of, I would say, like Triple H's like success stories, whatever you think they are, is that sooner or later they made it to the top of the card because fans invested. What we could have seen here, as silly as it was, could end up being one of like the biggest things of this year's like SummerSlam.
I'm so invested in this Dominic Mysterio story.
Yeah,
it's really well done. This, I was charmed, taken by this idea. And the friggin' main event happened. What we're doing?
I really want Dominic Mysterio to stay, like, have Liv not. I know she's finished up filming the Bad Lieutenant thing. Have Roxanne Perez try and seduce him.
Yeah,
and him just be like, no, like. This is different. This is the better version of Dominic Mysterio, and then probably give him world title or something for me. Anyway, main event: Bron Breakker versus Jey Uso with Sidge's arse on the line.
It's good. You think this was good?
15 minutes for the most inevitable finish ever.
Oh, finish.
Ever.
Finish was what it was.
I think everyone always remember the finish. You only remember the finish.
Breakker obviously has the upper hand early on, but Uso fights back.
Debbie was trending on Twitter this morning. I didn't need to check why.
Yeah.
Clotheslines Breakker over the top. Hits a suicide dive through the ropes, takes to a break. When we come back, again, Breakker's just running so fast. Clotheslines Uso. Uso goes to the middle rope for a splash, but Breakker just catches him like he's nothing and slams him down for 2. Pulls Uso up by his goatee, yells at the crowd. I love Bron Breakker. Tries to hit him, but Uso blocks it and lands a series of yeet strikes to Breakker. Hip attack gets 2 for Jey. Knocks Breakker to the outside, goes for another suicide dive, but this time Breakker catches him and just chucks him all over. And then it's so scary because I always think you're going to just like cripple yourself doing this. I don't know what he was going for, because sometimes it's a clothesline, sometimes it's like a flying bulldog or whatever on the announce table, but he just sort of launches his body at Jey Uso. We know where we're going. He's doing this.
Sorry, you should always keep doing that, and you should always never know what it is, because it constantly makes it feel like a environmental choice than a planned spot. It's way better that like he tweaks that a little bit, and it's just more of a positional opportunity rather than just time for me to do my table bit.
Yeah, it reminded me this one in particular reminded me of when Brock had just come back. And like John Cena's on the apron, and I think there's steps in there.
Oh yeah,
Brock just throws and spills that with him.
I wouldn't have been able to do that extra elevated jump if the steps weren't there. Good for me. Yeah, like that's Bron. They should obviously everything is crafted around these big moments, but make it seem like Bron's. Oh, cool! Way.
Yeah. We go to a break again, obviously off the back of that, and then come back to a nice-looking pop-up Samoan drop from Jey Uso.
For 2 seconds, I need to write something down because it's for work. It's for a list.
The 2 battle on the second rope, and Breakker obviously eventually hits the Steiner from the Breakker Steiner. I've written down here for some reason from the top. Breakker runs the ropes and runs straight into a super kick from Jey Uso. And then Paul Heyman jumps up on the apron as Breakker to take the referee as Breakker grabs a chair, but Jey Uso kicks the chair out of his hands, runs the ropes, but Heyman grabs his foot. Uso is pissed off by this, goes after Heyman, and he's jumped by Seth Rollins for the DQ.
I think these two have magic chemistry. Bron Breakker is, without question, Jey Uso's best singles, like rival, opponent, whatever. The finish was a cop-out, it was. But I'd have still booked this because it was nice ahead of Saturday night's main event. And again, we go back to it. Like, things are tying back together on Raw, and I like that. This idea that every challenger, they're kind of already looking past it. They're challenging each other. They're so certain that one of them is going to beat Jey Uso. And then he goes out there, and yes, this was disrupted by Seth Rollins, but it was done so in a way that for the duration of the match, Jey Uso was surviving and then ultimately coming back and looked as if he stood to beat Bron Breakker. And those wrestlers might be proven to be naive for thinking that they're just going to breeze past him. I do think there's a logic being applied to this entire little narrative world that occupies Jey Uso on Raw at the moment. And again, like, it's WWE's fault. I'd be way more lenient to an odd DQ if it was an odd DQ. There's just too many of them now. They're getting slapdash with their finishes, and now this just scans as like another cop out conclusion to a match that otherwise I was enjoying. I really like Bron Breakker like wrecks Jey Uso in a way that makes him look like he looks. Obviously, everyone looks fragile when they're getting speared by Bron Breakker, but in the other moves, Jey Uso looks quite fragile against Bron Breakker, and it does something different that makes him feel less. I almost don't want to use the word. Makes him look less fake. Jey Uso is a bit of a fake pro wrestler in a single setting. Buy it in tag matches. One of the many things that go wrong in a lot of Jey Uso matches is it's too synthetic for its own good, and the gap to do a pose before a move that The Rock has done, that Steve Austin kicks before a stunner, but when Jey Uso does it, he takes that extra beat, or it's like Bron's killing him out there. Like he goes like he can sell floppy limbs and all that sort of stuff, and they're like, weirdly, they might be soulmates, these two.
Yeah.
Like if Jey Uso was to survive and go on way longer than anybody thought as world champion, and let's say by some bloody miracle, he's got this belt by next year's WrestleMania and it's not completely ran out of steam, I'll have Bron Breakker win the Rumble and take it off him. Like,
Wow.
I like these two together a lot.
I do, yeah.
I'm not doing the whole it's a Fedden's crowd and it was going to be a DQ thing, because I've seen this match before, the Intercontinental title match. It's one of the most recent all-time modern history over deliveries. I thought it was fantastic. This was not that. This is so obviously 15 minutes just for that finish. I hate it. It was so obviously not going to finish in a definitive way that I was just waiting for the inevitable finish that inevitably happened and did in fact happen. So good news. I'm not going to jail. Didn't have to admit to crimes I haven't committed, as I promised on the preview yesterday. My arse will not be seen in Phoenix windows this year. I just was watching this waiting, and I got what I would have, like.
Do you think it went a bit longer because of the Zoe Stark injury?
I've thought of that maybe, time to kill, but then it's Netflix era, so you can't really use time to kill.
They're all 2.5 hours. They're all 2.5 hours. I don't think I've seen any fluctuation at all, really.
Yeah.
They stick to it. So maybe Wilbourn's got a point here.
Possibly, yeah.
I will say...
Do the Yeet entrance longer?
Yeah.
It's honestly a good job that I'm not single, right? Because I like a bit of a flutter, a bit of a gamble, right? I'm so sure of things because my mind convinces me that they're going to happen. Like, not talking about like probabilities or any kind of study. I would have spent 500 quid, I think, on Liverpool winning the League Cup or something.
Yeah.
I dread to think if I was single and there was a betting market for this match, how much money, like how sure I was you were going to get a DQ and Seth Rollins, how much of it would I put on there? Scary. But that's why I couldn't enjoy the match.
But a white-hot ending to the show, because post-match, Rollins and Breakker beat down Jey Uso in the ring. Sami Zayn's music hits. He runs down, jumps on the apron, but obviously the numbers game's still against him. Who will save him? CM Punk's music hits, and he comes down, joins him on the apron, and they brawl. The babyfaces get the better at first, but the heels keep fighting them. And Breakker and Rollins fight Zayn into the crowd. Punk leaps off the crowd barrier, and they keep brawling into the crowd. As all this is happening, Jey Uso gets his hand raised in the ring, but turns around to another KO punch from Logan Paul, who just smirks and is bleeding from the mouth from the super kick earlier, and smiles and stands tall ahead of Saturday night's main event.
It's filmed quite well, that, for the TV audience anyway.
Yeah, that was and it was like, again, cute overlap. Keep going back to this point about the Jey Uso, like sort of the situation he finds himself in. There's another like on the nose reminder of that. You cannot turn your back for a second because somebody's going to kick your ass and take your belt. This was, in my opinion, way more than just a white hot attitude era Raw conclusion where the good guys come out and save the day. And maybe this is because I am so invested in this eventual Sami Zayn heel turn. The deliberate gap was not just to build the excitement for CM Punk and like, look, the excitement delivered. He comes out. You say, if it was nothing but that, and I'm wrong, then it was successful because Jesus Christ, what a reaction. But Sami Zayn stands there and really considers his options, which Sami Zayn would previously never do.
Yeah.
He would slide in and he would take the ass kicking in the bloodline. It's for Jey Uso. He'd die for that man. So he's already standing there and like,
Happened the other week.
yeah, and that's a difference in Sami Zayn. He's been in a locker room telling him he'll be there for him. He's mostly there for him, but is he fully there for him yet? he's there for him when CM Punk is there because the sides are even, and CM Punk has come out to do the right thing as the babyface and help his fellow babyface, Sami Zayn. But Sami Zayn, down the line, will say, like, where was my cheers powering me to help my friend? You were just waiting for CM Punk. Like, you could even see the way he was reacting to Punk. I was like, that's, all right, well, you're here, so we can get on with it now. Like, I thought this was like some really deliberate storytelling for stuff that, again, to Sidge's point, they're not delivering on enough of the stuff they were teasing. Punk and Sami's felt on the docket for a good few weeks now, and they've given you the match as a bit of evidence of how exciting that could be. And there's the Kevin Owens element of, like, you're friends with him, / you're fighting him, like, always in the background as he recovers from this neck injury. And it's Punk. It's Punk and how many enemies has he got? Oh, still 100. Like, I think there was a lot of choices being made here about stuff that goes beyond the build to this Saturday night's main event tag. I said it a few weeks ago. Maybe you never transition out of stories in Triple H's world because he loves to carry him on.
He loves to carry him on. Jesus Christ.
This Saturday night's main event tag is the transition point. Yeah. You know, the beginning of the end of Punk and Seth, the real focused beginning on Punk and Sami, and that's exciting.
I sure hope so. I'm so bored of Punk and Seth interacting. It is just exhausting for me. You got a guy who I don't want to see as a babyface who I like, and a guy who I don't like who could just go away forever, as far as I'm concerned. And then
what a chemistry.
Meanwhile, like, Waller and Theory are doing that dance, Gunther and Jey. Just change everything. See you later.
Let us know your thoughts on Raw in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Actually, you can follow all four of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
Sidgwick.
Follow our brilliant producer, Adam Nicholas at
It's Adam Nicholas.
And you can follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE and make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. We'll be back later on today to preview NXT. But for now, this has been the Raw review. My thanks to Hamflett Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.